The Supreme Court ruled that companies that hold religious beliefs, genuine religious beliefs, do not necessarily have to cover birth control for their employees. Now, this is the case involving Hobby Lobby, and Hobby Lobby was basically objecting to the notion that the Affordable Care Act would force them to pay for contraception for their employees. Now, the court ruled 5 to 4, and they're in favor of Hobby Lobby, which means that this could have negative ramifications in the future. Now, the ruling pertained to something known as the Religious Freedom Restoration Act of 1993, something that was enacted by President Clinton. And the ruling has consequences and repercussions, such as allowing employees or employers to refuse to cover other medical treatments. So, for instance, if the employer is not in favor of blood transfusions or certain injections, that employer doesn't have to cover it based on the precedent that's been set by the Supreme Court in this particular case. Now, I want to know what the panelists think about this. Erica, I want to start off with you. Make your point.
This is a really, really frustrating decision because in actuality, it's not an issue of religious freedom. All of the data shows that the majority of women in this country, regardless of religious affiliation, actually do use contraception. So this is about a fringe group using religion as an excuse to make a political point and advance a political agenda.
Absolutely. John?
I think it's really sad that we've come to a point in American history where, like, people usually disrespect the president, they disrespect Congress, but now they don't have any respect for the Supreme Court. And it's not because they're more conservative than they were in the past. I think, you know, it goes up, it goes down. But it's that in his decision, well, you said there's the possible precedent that this could also rule out blood transfusions, psychiatric care, all sorts of other things that other religious faiths could have a problem with. Alito tries to say this should not be taken as an admission that those sorts of things could also be banned, as if he doesn't know what the Supreme Court is or how Supreme Court precedent works, as if he's never read how precedent is read in future decisions. And it was like trying, like in Bush v. Gore, to, I don't know, to have your cake and eat it too, to say that this one thing is okay. It's making a mockery of what the Supreme Court is supposed to represent.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. And the other point that I would like to make is that I don't believe that Hobby Lobby's cause here, their religious cause, is sincere. I don't think that this has anything to do with contraceptives. I think this has everything to do with their political agenda and with their absolute disdain for the Obama administration and the Affordable Care Act. If they were genuine in their religious beliefs, well, they wouldn't do business with China. And many products that they actually sell at their store is manufactured or built in China. And keep in mind, China has a one-child policy, and as a result, they had hundreds of millions of abortions ever since the one-child policy was enacted. So that's a really big piece of hypocrisy that I want to point out. And it's just crazy to me that all of a sudden now we have Republicans saying that they don't want the Affordable Care Act to stand between you and your doctor, and now all of a sudden we have religious employers standing between you and your doctor. So the question for this story is, has religion ever gotten in the way of something you really wanted? John, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, it has in a lot of ways, but in one sort of, I guess, kind of shallow way, I had a girl break up with me because I was an atheist. But that's happened to a lot of people. But the way that it was weird was that she wasn't like a Christian breaking up with me. She was just spiritual. She didn't follow any religions. But still, that spirituality was enough that she thought there was something fundamentally immoral. She couldn't come up with anything in particular, but she was like, there has to be something wrong.
You're better off.
And she was highly educated, by the way. This was in graduate school.
Wow. Unbelievable.
But more importantly, like, in religion isn't the only thing that stands in the way of this, but I want fundamentally for our country and the world as a whole to be driven by people being interested and curious in the world, coming up with ideas, testing them through experiments, gathering evidence for their beliefs, and then forming their worldview out of it. And religion, among many other things, does stand in the way of people doing that because they think that curiosity and experimentation aren't the way to the truth, that the truth has already been established and revealed to us in religious texts or in any other sort of blind dogma or faith.
Erica?
I want to disagree a little bit with that, but also share a story. So I'm the daughter of 2 pastors. I grew up literally in church 24/7. So religion kind of stood in the way of everything I wanted to do between the ages of 10 and 20. But those decisions were between me and my parents at the time. As I got older, me and my God. And then to the extent that I wanted it to be, it was between me and my religious institution in my church. Never between me and my employer. But the point that I wanted to follow up on is that religion stands in the way of kind of intellectual curiosity. And that isn't always the case. And in fact, it shouldn't be the case. I think certainly people misuse religion, misuse the word truth, but really it can actually be a beautiful way of understanding the truth and using it in combination with science, and as a Christian would say, with what God has allowed us to understand about the world through science.
Yeah, I think that there needs to be a distinction between fundamentalists and regular, normal religious people that you come across in the United States.
Absolutely.
So, you know, there are religious people that try to push their political agenda or their religious ideas upon everyone, regardless of what their religious beliefs are, and I don't agree with them. And in the case of Hobby Lobby, I feel like they're doing that even when they're being, you know, insincere in what their actual beliefs are. So I'll answer the question as well. I would say that religion, for a really long time when I was growing up, stood in the way of liberty for me. And the reason why I say that is because you want to live your life in a certain way, and you want to do it without feeling an intense amount of guilt for it, right? So if I had certain thoughts, or if I had certain feelings, or certain natural actions that you experience when you're younger, I would feel really, really guilty about that. And I think letting go of religion for me was a very liberating thing and an empowering thing. So I would say that religion had that impact on me. But I also want to know what the audience thinks. So tell me if religion has ever stood in the way of something you really wanted. Share your story. And for those of you who think that we don't read your comments, we absolutely do. In fact, on today's show, we will do a segment where we read some of your comments and respond to them. So be thoughtful, be honest, tell us what you think. We love hearing from you.